I would advise any property owners to avoid overspending on PPC, to avoid overspending on Google ads, because not to mention that the ROI is not making sense. Because I'm from this field, I know you can always see it from the seat. You can always see it, the early signals, the cover in the coal mine. Like you can always see it, not even feel it, but see it.
Hey everyone, put your bags down and relax, and welcome to the Room Key, where we make friends with OTAs while quietly stealing back your direct bookings. I'm sitting down with Chris Zhao from Travel Media Group. Chris has a strong take that the real bottleneck in hotel marketing isn't traffic or tech, it's trust. And we're going to unpack how that shows up across search, paid media, reviews, OTAs, and direct bookings, especially for franchise owners who need real results, not just buzzwords. Chris, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. I told you before, I love origin stories. I want to go way back. Where did Chris grow up?
Well, I grew up in China in a small town with only 10 million population. And yeah, I came to the United States in 2012, so a little bit more than a decade ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you end up in the U.S.?
Oh, I went to University of Florida, and after graduation, I interned at Disney Orlando with their corporate global media, search and auction media team. And after that, I started working with Travel Media Group, and I have been with TMG for this is my 11th year.
You went to University of Florida. What did you major in there?
Yeah, my major was advertising.
Yeah, that fits. I'm a big fan of Disney for a lot of reasons. Did you like working with Disney?
Yeah, it was very eye-opening and a lot of fun. So I worked in celebration. The location was celebration, so corporate media. So we basically they had centralized search and auction media team. So back then it was 2015. So search was already strong. Social was getting started, and that was right after Facebook or Meta acquired Instagram. So they were getting started, to get big on social. But it was very eye opening, and because lots of traction and ticketing and revenue being generated from the online, and especially the digital channel. And Disney was very serious about this. It was very interesting to see how things evolved, right? From search driven or search first to social first in the last decade or so. And I think it is a good lesson for me to be on top of the digital marketing, and especially in the hospitality industry.
Yes. In my experience, Disney takes everything they do very seriously, try to do it really, really well. Right. Did you know that you wanted to be in, I guess, the hospitality world?
No, I didn't. Actually, before Disney, I also interned with an e-commerce business, so selling audio systems. And I was majorly doing Google Ads or AdWords back then. So I stumbled upon into this field because because I majored in advertising and marketing. But when you think about the time about 2015 or before that, lots of things being moved, being adapted to the online realm, and especially with Meta or Facebook acquiring Instagram, who led the Go Mobile trend, and everyone was adapting to how consumers were shopping or were purchasing online, and that got me interested from the Google Ads or AdWords field, and then I started to explore, and I found this big play field, and which was the primary play field in the last decade. And when you just mentioned about trust over traffic, it's a pendulum. And when I started, or in the early 2010s, Google Ads was popular because the business model was newer, and people was like, wow, it can work. It can work this way, especially when after Google generated so much trust for marketers, right?
Yeah.
Like when you search on Google, yeah, the lesson or the story, how Google disrupted Yahoo, has always been popular among marketers. And when people search on Google, and then they found what they wanted because of the proprietary page rank or backlink based ranking system, that system was so effective, and that the system worked so well to give people what they wanted when they search, and then that was a positive flywheel, right? That resonated with searchers, and then over time they just think, okay, whatever ranked the highest, whatever ranked the top three, can give me good, trustworthy results and business. And that's why
Right.
they just search, and then they search, and that's why Google's AdWords or CPC, cost per click based ad system took off, because that was based on the trust Google or the Google search system already generated, right? That was very uh, interesting to review, and especially history can teach us something. Yeah, back to my story, I was like, yes. So that was a big playing field, and I think I can feel back then like this is where digital marketing is going. Yeah, this is basically when I just started after graduation.
Yes. Well, we're looking at now 10 years or so, 12 years from when you were at Disney till now. What are some of the biggest changes? And we'll dive into really the getting granular on what it is that you do. What would you say some of the just the big changes that you've seen over the last decade, 12 years?
I think it basically applies to every marketing as a whole, because think about marketing, right, from print media to TV, from TV to display ads online, right, from display ads online to search ads, and from search to social, and now from social to, not from social too, but social runs in parallel with all this AI thing.
Yeah.
So the same story goes on and on, because like financial model or ad model, they can be effective for a while, and then customers got accustomed to it, and customer adapted themselves to it, because it's a supply and demand equilibrium. So the customers got on board, and then the suppliers, or the marketers or the vendors, they got on board and adjust themselves to the system, and over time they just a little bit abused it, and then the trust got eroded. uh,
Yeah.
this is the same thing happening now as you just asked me. So why things change? Because because search, even as strong as Google search, has been working very well until it doesn't, because customers have adapted, because the consumption paradigm has changed, has shifted a little bit. And right now, when people still search on Google, like even before AI took off, becoming a big thing, search was already weighing a little bit, because search, think about that, before search was working so well because the World Wide Web was very simple, and that felt very so vast to us. And even search with the very simple but very strong backlink based system that can provide people with lots of good content. But nowadays it's obviously not enough, so people are not only satisfied with 10 blue links. They can still search, but where does the trust come from, right? And right now, they are not only relying on Google, on the backlink based system. And you know what? The interesting part is people, I mean, lots of users, they don't even know the page rank or backlink based system. They just use it,
Right.
and then over time they just find, okay, the top three links, they don't necessarily give me optimal results. And you know what? I trust Google, but I trust people more. Or I just there was a saying that social is the new search. Social is the new search. I think there was two dimensions of meanings here, and one is people just look on social and they may search because they were, when they were browsing TikTok, and then they just searched there to find results, and because they found the results were more instructive, more comprehensive, and more quote unquote multi-model, and right, like video based, not text based. And the other dimension of meaning, I think, is social is taking off. Social has been from late 2019, early 2020s to nowadays. Social has been getting lots of tractions over search, and social is the next ask growth curve. And also because of the interest-based algorithms, I browse on social not because I followed you, Chase, for example, but because I scrolled and then I stumbled upon you and found your content valuable,
Right.
authentic, trustworthy. Yeah, and then the same thing, right? Like why people are not relying on, or majorly relying on Google for their buying decisions, because they have social, they have AI. Like think of AI. Like Google is so confined by its one search box. Even I
Yes.
think even the primary problem with the current version of Google, although Google is trying to push more users from the legacy UI or the legacy experience with a single search box to the AI model or AI experience of Google. But that basically said a thing that Google knows that its legacy search-based, search box-based search system, right, or the experience is limited right now because it doesn't align with what consumers want. And consumers probably they want it, but they want it subconsciously. They didn't know that they want it until they were given a choice. It's like they didn't know they wanted the iPhone, the smartphone, until they were given a choice by Apple, because Apple
Yes.
understood the customer experience or customer even psychology right? So profoundly. But that doesn't mean like it's not customer driven, it's not customer centric. Everything is customer centric. And right now Google, I'm not talking about Alphabet, I'm talking about the legacy the legacy Google search box system, the 10 blue links system, or the ranking based system. Right now, right, Google is giving a way to social and AI search because that's how customers are doing research right now. That's how customers are shopping and making decisions right now. They are not only satisfied with the 10 blue links, and they just right now the AI thing is so popular. For example, me, I don't even want to type. I don't even want to type. Not to mention the Google's right? The one single box search box is so limited. I cannot type more. I cannot see the full context. I cannot feed the context to Google, but I don't even want
Yes.
to type. I just use voice search. So, not to mention, I want the system to remember my behavior, my history, everything I fed into the system to guide my future searches. That's how AI search works.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll get into a lot of things, but looking at the AI stuff, I just want to be able to ask my question. And a lot of times I'll even ask, like, what questions do you have for me? What information do you need? And have it ask me 2, 3, 4 questions that I can answer immediately to give me the best results. Whereas Google, whatever it is that I type in there, I'm limited to whatever Google thinks it is that I want, plus all the paid and everything else that it wants to give me, that it
Yeah,
is
exactly.
very limited.
Right. Like nowadays, people are not even clicking through the legacy Google results, and 60% of the visits on legacy Google they didn't click through. They just browse, and not to mention they browse the AI overview or AI generated results. So
Yeah.
when we mention Google right now, when I say I use Google, you don't know if I use Google for the regular 10 blue links or I use Google for the AI generated results.
Right. Right. And you talk about trust as well. And I feel like, what are some of the sources? How do we know that we trust? Obviously, if it's on Google, there's a certain level of trust there. We look at the reviews, but certain companies, they're paying for reviews and they're not legitimate. And same thing with social is like, oh, this person has a lot of views or a lot of likes, a lot of subscribers, but those can be paid for too. How do you actually know how you trust something or not?
Well, that's a very good question, Chase. I think over time, I would say in the long term, customers are the smartest. You cannot fool them in the long term. They will figure it out. They will, as a
Yeah.
whole, crowdsource. Some may get fooled or get tricked by some marketers if you want, right? But
Right.
we don't want to trick them, by the way. But in the long
Right.
in the long term, they are the smartest. When you mention about all those fake reviews, fake stories, fake content, maybe on
Yeah.
social media, I think tactically, if we're talking about how to show consumers how to identify the fake content or fake everything, there's a way, but over in the long run, we don't have to worry about that. When you mention about trust, so trust is built in a very long period of time. There's no shortcut. So I mean, I think yeah, that's a very funny thing because nowadays, when we are posting on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is social media. LinkedIn is how we build trust. So LinkedIn is how we combat quote unquote combat or adjust ourselves to the new consumption paradigm because again like we cannot only rely on the 10 blue links or ranking on the first page of Google organically to win trust of customers because customers are not even clicking through not because they don't trust us but because they don't know us first and then they are not trusting Google as well as before, and that's why we're posting on LinkedIn. When you mention about like how to build trust, I think there's no shortcut. The shortcut is no shortcut. We like the sh- the shortcut is we have to post consistently on LinkedIn and very consistently, and to build trust with good content, with not fake content, not even AI rating content. And I think when we write AI, not to say that we cannot use AI as a system, but sometimes I think there's a line being drawn between AI and discernment or judgment first content writing, or we are distributing, or we are contributing a POV, point of view, our point of view. AI doesn't have a point of view.
Right.
I think the limitation of AI is based on the training data from the massive data they used to learn from the whole web. It's efficient. It's so efficient, but one of the limitations is they are not learning something. They cannot invent something, right? They can learn something new, but they cannot invent something, and
Right.
that's why, like, if we don't want to be controlled or be managed by AI, we have to think, not rely on AI, but to look at things from a higher level, to lead AI, not being led by AI. And when I said this, I mean, it all goes back to how you build trust as a marketer, as a digital marketer. Online is post by post to contribute your point of view and what you think about the whole digital marketing industry, the whole like commercial real estate. Right, you're in the brokerage business, so
Yep.
yeah, like I care about your point about commercial real estate chase, not the AI's point of view. Not like I have an AI assistant that I can leverage. Like everybody has an AI assistant, right? In the future, like everybody has an AI assistant. By the way, AI is being a commodity, right? Like if I use a ChatGPT, I use Gemini. I cannot know the difference. Like you cannot tell. Like when I use AI and copy and paste, and to send you an output, you cannot know the difference that I use which
Yeah.
AI tool. Back to how we build trust, I think there's no shortcut. It's just like we treat our customers the way they want. They don't want to see. They don't want to see us paraphrasing what AI gave us. They want us to deliver our point of view, because I think one of the advantage is know-how. Like one has been in the industry for decades, and that's know-how, that's judgment, that's discernment. Like
Yes.
that's how you know. Yeah, you're in the broker business. Like that's how you know when to sell a hotel or when to hold on.
Yes.
I don't know it, right? Like I can do research on AI, and I can just pretend that I know. But over time, customers are the smartest. They will know that I don't know.
Yes.
They'll know
And I
that
love
you are the expert, because you have skin in the game.
I love that, and I'm going to use that quote of the only shortcut is knowing that there are no shortcuts, and that's fairly profound, because if you spend so much of your time, you've got all these different paths to go down. You know this route is the long route, but it'll get you there. But you get distracted. I want to go on this shortcut. I want to go on this shortcut, and knowing like each time you go down a ways, you got to come back to the beginning and start over. And if you get distracted on so many shortcuts, you're ultimately going to be behind,
Mm.
because you're not going down the long path, which you're going to have to go down anyway. So might as well start that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Owners are being told that SEO is dead. OTAs are evil and AI is going to replace all marketing anyway. Let's try and separate out the signal from the noise. What would you say if somebody said SEO is dead and OTAs are evil?
Well, that's a very interesting topic, and I think because I can say something, right, because I've been in the SEO industry for a decade. Hey Chase, like I always say, when we say SEO is dead, email is dead. Why we're even talking about this in the first place? Because nobody defines what that is,
Okay.
right? Nobody would define what that is. I think SEO is SEO is dead. Is just a way to get attention, nothing more. Because there's no, it's a meaningless debate. It's a meaningless conversation, and to say, oh, it's dead, it's not dead. I think everything
Right.
is dead. Everything is not dead. Like it depends. It depends on how we define dead in the first place, right? Email, is email dead or not? Like it's hard to argue. And but you know what? When we talk about decision making, especially I think nowadays, especially in the AI age, decision making, or where we go, where we go, what is the right thing to do? I think it's more important. It's more important than how fast we're going, we're executing. So right now, more brain power or more resources is being shifted to how to figure out what is the right thing to do. Yeah, so I think SEO is dead or not. It's not the right thing to debate. by the way, by the way, because from a company's perspective, like a company has limited resources, right?
Yeah.
Like it has to strategically allocate resource to different, for example, marketing channels. I mean, the digital marketing business, different marketing channels. Whether SEO is dead or not, that wouldn't give me any insights in terms of whether I should put 60% of the marketing resources to which channel, right? Right.
Yes.
And
And you talk about the what you call the trust-led multi-channel growth framework, right?
mhm.
Give us an idea. What is that?
Yeah, the trust-led multi-channel growth, I think all about going back to the basics. What is the basics? It's, the basics is always customers. It's always travelers, right? We are in the hospitality business. So when I mentioned or came up with the TMG approach, or trust-based, trust-led multi-channel, it's about how customers or how travelers are making decisions. So customers are being more and more sophisticated. They are using multiple channels, and when we think about this from top of the funnel to bottom of the funnel, right? It's a decision making funnel. It's a decision making journey. It's a traveler's journey. It's a process. So when we think about that, we have to be where the travelers are. So I mean, the digital marketing business, when they search on social, when they search on social, when they scan social, when they browse their social media, they just browse it for fun, and then
Yes.
in which process they had travel inspiration, they had travel discovery, right? They stumble upon a property that they like, and but they probably are going subconsciously from out of market intent wise to in market. And the funny thing is, and during this process, nobody can know when they started to be in market. And not to mention, we have a way to track it. We don't have a way to track it. And nowadays, I think not only when I mentioned about trust based or the TMG approach, everything, even from the channel or from the platform, from the social platform, TikTok, Instagram, they are adjusting to what the customers want, what travelers want. They are being
Mhm.
more enclosed system. They don't allow the, unless you pay, unless you pay. But they probably don't allow marketers to inject links to direct them to external website, right? Uh, and
Yeah.
because of what? Because of trust. They're unless you pay, and then they are probably willing to sacrifice some trust to win some short term revenue from marketers. But otherwise, they are giving travelers, they are giving users exactly what they want. They are browsing social media, and the platform allow them to browse it without any frustration, without any concern about being directed right by not trustable marketer to external website. I think that's how, like, when I came up with the TMG or trust based approach, that's how we marketers have to do. We have to go back to the basics, like from the top of the funnel when they browse on social media to the mid of the funnel and to the bottom of the funnel. And when I mentioned about the bottom of the funnel, like it's like yeah, you just asked me about OTAs evil, necessary evil, and how I look at these things is all come up together, and thinking from the funnel perspective. And the bottom funnel is not only comprised of the brand.com or the direct channel. Direct channel is a booking platform, obviously, but OTAs, right? I advocate. I always advocate a multi-channel, uh, and when people say OTA is a necessary evil, I would say OTA is not necessarily evil, not necessarily evil,
Right.
because OTA gave the travelers what the direct channel cannot give. And
Yes.
like it always, like from the marketing's perspective, there are always different segments of customers. Some customers, they belong to this segment. They like to book direct because they have more brand affiliation with a certain brand that they already trust.
Yes.
Or you can build trust with social media, right? Over time, like we mentioned, there's no shortcut. Over time, and they are trusting enough to your brand, and then they can book direct with you. But there's always another segment of customers who prioritize convenience, because they just like to use the end-to-end OTA channel because they already trust the OTA brand enough. And then I mentioned there's the 10x rule. The 10x rule always comes to play a role here. So what is 10x rule? Is like if a newcomer is 10 times as powerful or as efficient, as cheap, as user friendly enough to this industry, it can disrupt the industry. It's like AI first search. But if the other part of the story, if the player or the newcomer is not 10x, is not 10 times better, then like you cannot persuade consumers to change their behaviors. I
Right.
think we can all agree, like people's behaviors are so hard to change. Like once there's
Yes.
once there's inertia, once there's the status quo is so deeply rooted into their like daily behavior, and they just continue to do that. I think we have to accept that in terms of looking at like a direct versus OTA like view or standpoint. I wouldn't even mention about the versus, because it's not one versus another. It's both. It's not even like the direct channel is competing with the OTA channel. It's more like the direct uses direct actually targets to a segment, maybe a little bit, but in general not overlapping with the OTA segment. So yeah.
Yeah, and if you have somebody that uses Expedia for absolutely everything, you're probably not going to change it. So don't necessarily fight that. Get what you can out of the OTA, but the people that you do have the potential to win them over to direct booking somehow, focus that effort on them, not on the people that are not going to move away from Expedia, right?
Yeah, right. Chase, I like it when you mention about fight. So especially nowadays in this very challenging or volatile macro environment, like the cost of capital is high, and the rate is interest rates is higher for longer. So
Yes.
it's not about I being a hotel, like I use my direct channel to, my goal is not to fight OTA. My goal is to make money. My goal is not to
Yes.
win. I think when you mention about fight, it's like so I think when hotel marketers, when they have to be very cautious. Probably I wouldn't advise to get into a battle to fight people's behavior, right? Like I would
Right.
advise to pick the battle, pick the easy battle to fight, and that's goes back to the TMG, the Trust-led Multichannel Growth framework. So when we look at this, it's from top of the funnel, social media, to bottom of the funnel, multi-channel. I wouldn't advise, I didn't even include heavy pay-per-click or advertising or cost per click or like Google Ads spending, because especially in this current micro environment, it's all about being flexible. We don't want to put our position to gamble something, and it's all about being in the position that we feel comfortable. So we don't want to overspend on ads. We don't want to overspend because when it comes to ads, it comes back to Google. For example, Google Ads, we're trying to change people's behavior. We're trying to change people's existing consumption paradigm that they feel comfortable. We're trying to persuade them to change,
Yes.
and then that's a friction. That's a friction that I would advise hotel marketers to avoid. Right? We want to pick the easy battle to fight.
And talking tactically, what would you say is the first domino that you would tip over for a 2 to 3 star hotel that needs more qualified demand?
Well, I think first they have to figure out where the demand is coming from. So where they are right now, they have to, without moving another step, they have to figure out where they are standing right now. And especially when in the last couple of years. So it has been volatile because the consumption paradigm has changed. When we look at the hospitality industry, like there's no surprise why luxury or upscale hotels, they have been performing well, better than mid-scale, better than economy. First, because of the economy, right? The big economy. Some people called it a K-shaped economy. The upper upscale, the luxury, those segments, they are more willing to spend money right now. They're more
Yes.
willing to spend money because they have the spending power. So that's where demand comes from. The mid-scale economy segment, they're not performing as well because I think, you know what, people still travel, but it's not about occupancy. It's about that they are spending because they expect it to be utility driven. They expect the property to be no frills because they don't have the spending power. And then that's not the best battle to pick. So that's why I think where you are, which business you are in the accommodation driven travel, or you are in the experiential driven travel. So not like we can all agree. So in the last couple of years, though, the industry, there's a shift from accommodation driven travel to experiential or experience driven travel. So people want to travel to experience it. We just talk about the different segments of the hotels which correlate with the different segments of customers or the travelers. And another thing is people want to travel to experience it. So for example, from my economic, when I travel, I tend to look more about, for example, glamping. When Marriott acquired postcard cabins, right? Like they're offering an experience that I can still afford, but you know what? It's a totally different experience than I usually travel with Marriott before, and I think that's another shift that when you mention about how hotels are generating demand, that's a shift. That's a shift about the demand that the hotels have to figure out first where demand comes from. Um, and obviously, with the limited spending power, if I spend some money, right, a portion of my spending power in glamping or in experiential travel, I would, as a result, have to spend less on accommodation-based travel. But um, yeah, that's like where we are right now. And then next, we have to figure out how to generate demand.
Yes. And I mean, one of the problems that I hear a lot from some of my owners is I don't have time to chase algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
In as plain English, how is the AI powered search changing what SEO even means?
Well, I think that's a very good, interesting question. It pertains to me because I have been hearing these questions all the time, and that prompted me to do more research about that. So I'm in SEO, and back years ago, the technical schema markup. So when we apply something and then having Google to pick it up and then show like basically it's like to optimize the page to be more crawl friendly or by Google, and Google can show you in a very good position on Google. Even people talk about position zero, position zero, not even position one. But no, it's not about what AI search is about, because AI is large language model. So why it got this name? So in the first place, it was trained by massive data points, massive um, attributes, massive parameters, massive computing power, and massive data density. Like the AI learns the whole web by crawling, not even crawling, being trained with the whole web. And AI understands. I think the to answer your question, the most important differentiator between AIO or GEO, generative engine optimization, and search engine optimization is AI search is all about
Okay.
pattern. So AI is trying to use what it got trained, what it learned with the massive training data, talking about the scaling law, right? AI already learns how to identify pattern. And then, for example, if a property is feeding AI with newer information, if I ask AI, right, a voice search, I want to find a property that is family friendly this weekend in Miami, and preferably oceanfront property with that can host two adults, two kids, preferably with a bunker bed. And you know what? That has to be not under construction right now, not under renovation right now. So I've stumbled. I have an experience before. Like I booked an oceanfront property, and I was like, wow, the price was so cheap. It's an oceanfront. I didn't know that it was currently under renovation until I checked in. I was like, no wonder that was so cheap.
Right.
So back to the example, AI is grabbing AI is grabbing the newer information, right? The newer information that any properties can feed it. So, and also from multiple channels. That's why that goes back to the multi-channel framework, especially in the AI age. Like even a website is so well optimized, it still has limitation because that's only one source. AI or large language model, it is grabbing information or retrieving information based on the RAG, like retrieval augmented generation system. AI is grabbing information from multiple sources and from OTA, from booking.com, from Expedia, from brand.com, from your direct website, from different sources along the web, and to pull the information regarding the query or the question being asked by the traveler and to see if there's a pattern there. If there's a pattern, the reputation is good universally, consistently across different channels. Maybe in this last month, maybe in the past 6 months. But the key is AI has to be able to access enough data points, enough data density to be able to make a decision itself based on patterns. And the pattern, when we talk about pattern, the number one premise is the data volume has to be good. The data volume has to be representable, right? Like otherwise, right, 5 reviews, AI cannot generate a pattern, and then there's no point. So that's why, like, I think to answer your question, what's the difference between AIO, GEO, and SEO, right? Pattern and multiple source is the number one differentiator. AI is looking for a consensus, not a claim by a website owner, by a property owner. AI is generating it, trying to validate it from multiple sources.
So having consistent information across multiple systems, as many systems as possible, is key.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting because anything human is developing or trying to invent, anything that is mimicking the human innate human body, the right helicopter is better than dragonfly, right? The animals, right?
Yeah.
And right now, AI, large language models, they are mimicking human brain, but the fundamental rationale or the fundamental logic is the same. It's like when we make decisions subconsciously, we're trying to validating whether you said is what others said. That's why we have been like reading reviews. That's why we have been reading reviews, because we are subconsciously validating whether you said is true, because you are a property owner, and I cannot trust you single-mindedly. I have to crowdsource. And then that's exactly how AI, large language model, they're making decisions. It's exactly how human brain works.
Right. Exactly. Is there a shortcut that you see a lot of people try and take that you wish would just go on there, ignore it? Don't worry about this shortcut because it doesn't lead anywhere.
I would advise any property owners to avoid overspending on PPC, to avoid overspending on Google ads, because Not to mention that the ROI is not making sense because I'm from this field. I know you can always see it from the seat. You can always see it, the early signals, the cover in the coal mine. Like you can always see it, not even feel it, but see it. But you know what? Yeah, I would advise not overspending on it because right now the consumer consumption paradigm is changing. Like we just talked about, if we are overspending on it, we are trying to change people's behaviors. That's not a good trust signal. Um,
Right.
and if it has to, right? For example, sometimes there you can only spend to get visibility. For example, the ranking based, the ranking on OTA website. You spend on Expedia, for example, Expedia travel ads to be on the first few slots of the right the page. And but the premise is your trust has already have to be built in the first place, has to be built already. Like when people find you, they're not based on the how good you're ranking to trust you, right? You have to be solid on social media. You have to be posting consistently on social media, and to be traveler first, to provide value, to build your brand, to build a brand that people trust already. That when they find you, they already trust you. Not as same as a decade ago. When they find you, they did not know you, but they instantly trusted you because you ranked on the first page, on the
Right.
second slot on Google. But right now,
Yes.
overspending is not a solution. Overspending is compromising the trust. That's the number one thing in the short term that I think people have to cut. Not a shortcut anymore.
Right. Absolutely. Before you can check out, you got to have your wake up call. What's one metric that you'd force every owner to check weekly?
Well, you know what? I think is P&L. I think it's not necessarily a specific siloed metric because I know people will talk about what's the ROI of a specific channel, social media.
Yeah.
But it's a siloed mindset. I think nowadays I would lean more in gut feeling than paper looking good attribution system or attribution metrics, or there's no one metric from the siloed perspective. It's not about how your Google Ads is performing good, how you're generating a good ROI on social media. No, I would say from a business perspective, if the P&L, profit, revenue,
Yes.
if they are making sense to you. I think lots of them goes to, 'cause especially for hotels, they have been in hotel managers, general managers. They have been in the business for a long time. That they can know that sometimes, right, the metrics there, if they are making sense, if they are not making sense, if they are they have to prioritize certainty over risks, if they have to be aggressive or not. I think it all comes back to P&L as a whole from a holistic success evaluation system, not from a siloed um mindset.
Awesome. What's one channel that you'd bet grows the most in the next 24 months?
I think from a content standpoint, social media is still the one that I would pick because the social media right now, the way social presents content and the value is still not being replaced or replaceable by AI because that's more authenticity driven and human first. But the premise is that you have to be posting or be there authentically. Uh, but social media is also very low cost, especially we are not spending to generate attention. Uh, and revenue wise, I would say considering the current macro environment, I would say still to lean on OTAs, because they are taking the risks for you, right? They're taking the risks for hotels, and then I always say it takes an OTA to beat an OTA, because it's not like we spend on Google to generate some bookings at a lower quote unquote commission or higher margin than OTAs, and then we can call it a day. No, we cannot replicate it first. And second, it's not the same because OTAs, they're operating as a very unique model, which is right. You get a booking first and you pay later. That's like you're dumping the risks to the OTA side, and that's an advantage,
Right.
especially on this macro environment. So it's not fair to judge from the end results perspective and the whole process. Right, they have to, especially the asset heavy properties, hotels, they have to stay healthy with the healthy cash flow during the process. So that's why I would say, yeah, like to lean on OTAs, and in the meantime to build on your direct channel, because those are reaching or targeting different traveler segments. But lean on OTAs for the short term, for the bookings, and also for the risk management perspective, for the risk management purpose. And in the long term, you still have the time to diversify. You still have the time to build your own channel and your brand, but that takes time.
Yes, absolutely. I love that answer. What would you say is the most underrated trust signal for conversion?
I think the most underrated trust signal is review response, because so at the end of the day, review response is just an opinion or extra information, updating information from the properties, from the owners, from the management of the property. It's akin to what you're posting on your own website. But the difference is, as we just covered, it's being crowdsourced. It's being retrieved by AI as multiple sources. And also, you know what? It's being time stamped. It's time based, right? It's time based. Like if I have a new policy, I can respond with the newer information on Booking.com, on Expedia, and then send a signal to not only to travelers but to AI, and AI will know this new policy is being released this weekend. How can you communicate this using your own website? Because the website is a static. The website is now evolving dynamically. I think
Right.
at the end of the day, it all comes back to what is the right thing to do. Like we want to do it because we want to get the information, get the trust out there in a very efficient and um, like updated, hopefully in real time.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any hotel marketing myth you wish would disappear?
Yeah, because we just covered about the myth about OTA. So I would say one about social media, about social media, because the myth is anything you invest on social media will have a visible return. No, not to mention in the short term. I think the myth is hotel managers, hotel marketers, they are expecting something that they cannot get from social media. It's all because how social media, and fundamentally it's all about how travelers purchase, how travelers quote unquote work. Because when we talk about being customer first, being traveler first, that priority has a cost, and attribution is one of them. Attribution is one of them. You cannot expect something from ROI, from you cannot expect an ROI, a line being drawn from upper funnel investment to your bottom funnel revenue. It doesn't make sense. But I understand why hotel marketers are chasing that, because they're all goes back to the evaluation, the success evaluation system. Like they are being evaluated that way. But from the business perspective, like everything has to be going back to the first principle, like why we are doing what we are doing, not because it's we are chasing a number to justify what we are doing, but because we are doing this because it's the right thing to do, because that's what travelers want. I always say this when it comes to the social media attribution. Like you will get it when you don't chase it. You will lose it when you chase it. Yeah, it's I think that's irony that hotel marketers have to live with or accept.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely profound. And again, it's going back to that. I want a shortcut. I want the easy thing to do to get to the end goal, but not wanting to put in the long time and effort.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that. I get that. Chris, if an owner feels overwhelmed, what would you say is the simplest next step this week?
Oh yeah, I think I would say everybody to think from an owner's perspective, to think from the perspective that you own the business, you own the hotel, not from the perspective, from a siloed mindset that I'm trying to justify why I'm doing what I'm doing, or why my role exists. Because that gave me some epiphany when I thought about this from this angle. And I would recommend, yeah, just start from this week. Like if you own the property in this constrained macro environment with the volatile demand, with the shifting consumption paradigm, how would you do? And I think the answer will come back to the TMG framework, the Trust-led Multichannel Growth framework.
Absolutely. Chris, thank you so much for jumping on. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I could go for another hour at least diving into a lot of the details on this marketing. It's so interesting.
Well, Chase, I appreciate your time, and yeah, again for your reaching out and for this conversation. And it has been a very fun conversation, and also I benefit a lot from preparing it.
Good, good. I love it. All right. Well, thanks again, Chris. I'm excited to see where you keep moving and the differences that you are making in the hospitality industry.
Thank you, Chase. Yeah, I appreciate it.